Hello everyone. This video is a follow-up on the surprise attack in Ukraine. On June 1st, the Security Service of Ukraine, drones that launch spider web operations, reportedly carrying out airstrikes on 5 Russian air bases. This time, 41 Russian military aircraft were destroyed, including Figure 29, 22. I mentioned yesterday, it's especially serious when it comes to strategic bombers and A-50 early warning aircraft. Early warning planes, most expensive. Why is that? Because they have to be equipped with a lot of radar and communication systems. Those components are extremely costly. This time, 110 drones were deployed. Operation planned over 18 months. It was the longest-range mission since the war began. According to the Security Service of Ukraine, the attack caused $700 million in losses for Russia, Russia's main air force bases. 34% strategy. Cruise missile carriers were attacked. These aircraft are capable of carrying cruise missiles, specifically nuclear cruise missiles. So, 34% of them are gone. This is according to the Ukrainian side. The bases that were attacked include ones as far as 4,500 kilometers from Ukraine. Sounds unbelievable. Irkutsk-Belia Air Base and the Arctic Circle. Murmansk-Linya Air Base. Let's look at the map. This one is actually in the Arctic Circle. This is the farthest one, 4,500 kilometers away. How could they possibly carry out an attack there? I mentioned this yesterday. Ukrainian media said the attack was extremely complex. First, drones were smuggled into Russia. Then some mobile wooden structures were designed inside wooden crates. Then, they found some unsuspecting Russians to transport these crates. Go near the base, please. These Ukrainian agents used first-person view drones, which are these are called FPV, or first-person view drones, ordinary drone, designed to avoid crashing. But they have all sorts of limitations. FPV means you see what the drone sees as you fly it. Regular drones are much easier to learn to fly, but these drones require real skill to operate. It's to cross, making them much harder to defend against. And they're much faster. They were brought in by truck. When time was right, open the top and fly out. According to people from the Ukrainian Security Service, during the drone attack, the operator maintaining instant communication. This definitely had to be done through. This can only be done via satellite communication. Hardest remote attack. One way is to use AI for the attack. With an AI attack, is it AI controlling the weapons? Actually, no one internationally has ever tried this before. This is all done by AI. If it's the operator, then how is that whole command and training system put together? You have to launch it up, keep it low, ascend higher, and then bring it over to come down. This whole process, it needs to stay at a low to mid-altitude, then spend some time at the same orbit as the satellite. This kind of command and training system isn't easy to put together. I suspect they're using Starlink for this. And they're doing it without Elon Musk knowing. Without Starlink, it just wouldn't be possible to be able to precisely target the fuel tank of a strategic bomber, because these aircraft, the combat payload is quite small, only about 1 or 2 kilograms. How else are you going to blow it up? You have to hit the fuel tank precisely. So it needs to be piloted by someone. A drone. Zelensky personally coordinated with Maliek, the head of Ukraine's security service, who led the team to carry out the operation directly. Ukraine's military intelligence agency, which is the one Russia hates the most, to assassinate him. But no matter how many times they've tried, they've never succeeded. Doing this kind of work is extremely dangerous. The U.S. government said, this has nothing to do with us. The Donald Trump administration was not informed about this operation. A senior U.S. Department of Defense official said this attack was unprecedented in its complexity. The technical difficulty was off the charts. You also have to synchronize everything, honestly. The law of the world is anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Just getting everyone to coordinate the timing is already a huge hassle. Transportation, if at any point the traffic police stop you. Sorry for the trouble. There will definitely be unexpected incidents. If there's an accident up ahead, you'll be delayed again. You can't arrive early, and you can't be late. It's unbelievably complicated. I honestly think it's a miracle with this attack. Those expensive weapons are really a big deal. I'll give you an example. I'm not saying it can't happen. For example, is it possible for you to? Taiwan also has a lot of things that can be shipped to the mainland. Could you have some die-hard operatives transport these things? A batch of drones were transported all the way to Hainan Island and then head to the aircraft carrier club to launch an attack on the aircraft carrier. You really wouldn't be able to stop it when the aircraft carrier is docked there. The crew have all gone ashore to have a little bit of fun for themselves. This thing is done. No one is safe. The attack happens quite suddenly. Right when Russia and Ukraine, it is scheduled to be held in Istanbul. Second round of peace talks. This is Ukraine sending a message to Russia. Don't think you're the only one who can hit me. I can hit you back too. And I can hit you where it hurts. As for Russia, I've noticed. Back when we were kids in school, Russia is very beneficial. Though others attack them, no matter how hard you fought, you could never finish them off. That's why Hitler lost here. Actually, Russia is at a real disadvantage. Why is that? How can you defend such a huge country? If someone comes into attack, hard to defend them, and you can't take care of both sides at once. Siberia and Russia. If attacked here, send help from there. How to rescue? It's a disadvantage, especially for the Navy. In the Arctic Ocean, in the Pacific Ocean, in the Black Sea, in the Caspian Sea, and in the Baltic Sea. If someone sends a fleet to attack you, your 5 fleets wouldn't even know what to do. All right. The Russian anti-fake news website says that 34% of Russia's long-range fleet has been destroyed. Nonsense. I'm relieved, since they've said that. And you can't use nuclear weapons. You don't even admit that something like this happened. It's just like when the Moskva exploded back then, because someone was smoking. You know, Russians really like to smoke. But mainland people like smoking more. Explosions are always caused by smoking. The Russian Minister of Defense stated that Russian military forces in Ivanovo Oblast, Ryazan Oblast, and Amur Oblast military airfields managed to fend off the terrorist attacks. The Russian side admitted that in Murmansk Oblast and Irkutsk Oblast, since the drones were launched from areas near the airports. As a result, there was a fire. It wasn't a big deal. There were no significant losses. Russian media said the Ukrainian operation was a web of lies, just lies. They questioned the results of the attacks announced by Ukraine. It's best if nothing happened. The Russian side said they have already arrested the saboteurs involved in the attack. But Ukraine said, these people have already returned safely. The Russian Z community described this attack as Russia's Pearl Harbor incident. That's a slap in their own face, a huge loss, isn't it? And according to the Ukrainian news agency, this is in Murmansk, which is located in Murmansk Oblast, Russia, where a massive explosion occurred. Many Russian telegram channels said the site of the explosion is a nuclear submarine base. This explosion. This is bad. This is the main naval base of Russia's Northern Fleet. It houses 2/3 of Russia's nuclear-powered submarines. including advanced Yasen-class and Oscar II-class submarines. So, was there really an explosion? Videos circulating online show thick, heavy smoke. The captions say it's near Severomorsk. But the exact extent of the damage is still unknown. Actually, on May 31st, a day earlier, Russia launched 472 drones at Ukraine. Record since the war in 2022, it was the highest number in a single night. It seems Moscow has learned how to make drones. He doesn't have to use Iran's founder. They can now mass-produce these suicide drones themselves. The Ukrainian Air Force fired 7 missiles simultaneously. Out of the 472 drones, 382 were shot down. 3 of the missiles were intercepted, but 90 missiles could not be intercepted. Military analysts say the Russians may be using large numbers of cheap suicide drones to carry out saturation attacks, finding flaws in Ukraine's air defenses. If they can mass-produce them, they will launch mass attacks. Russia's bombing campaign took place on the eve of peace talks, which shows that they actually have no intention of negotiating peace. Today, June 2nd, they are holding the second round of ceasefire talks in Istanbul, Turkey. But Ukraine says they are still waiting for a memorandum of proposals from the Russian side. Both sides now have a memorandum, recording everyone's demands. Then let's talk about Ukraine has set out a roadmap requiring a 30-day ceasefire first, and in the final peace agreement, Ukraine's military capabilities will not be restricted. You can't limit me, I can't go without armed force. Ukraine can choose to join the European Union, and joining NATO depends on NATO's consensus. This is something Russia definitely won't accept. The peace roadmap calls for Russia and Ukraine to pay war reparations, and sanctions against Russia can be gradually lifted in stages. To be lifted gradually, but they can be reinstated quickly. If you start fighting, they'll be restored fast. Trump has already urged Moscow and Kyiv to work together to reach an agreement. But he expressed disappointment that Russian forces continued bombing during the negotiations. I saw American senators and representatives, specifically Republican senators. There are already 83 votes in favor in the Senate. If the Senate passes it, the only one who can block it is the Speaker of the House of Representatives. Johnson can choose not to put it on the agenda. Otherwise, it will pass. That proposal is to impose a 500% tariff on anyone buying Russian oil. In short, that would be a big problem for Russia. Anyway, Ukraine is really at war. War is the mother of creativity. During crisis, you'll use every trick you've got, and you won't hold back. This time, Ukraine's attack has broken the record for warfare in the world. From now on, these expensive weapons, it is really dangerous. Someone could secretly set something up near you and then launch an attack on you. You are irresistible. Of course, now that things have come to this point, after 3 years of fighting, I also, even though this is a matter of global justice, it can't be upheld, but I also hope ceasefire now. Honestly, I really hope they stop fighting. So many people have been killed or injured. I agree with this too.